Hello, students, and welcome to your week 3 overview. I hope to be brief, so let me share my screen and we will get right to it. Okay, this is the week 3 overview. You can read through what we're doing. We're focusing on rhetorical analysis, building up to eventually writing the rhetorical analysis essay. That's the first formal essay that you are required to write for this class. You have an assignment due the middle of the week. That is a summary and response worksheet, which I'll talk about in a moment. That helps to make sure that you are selecting a text that is worthy of spending about 1,000 words talking about in your rhetorical analysis paper. There are also a couple of readings that we will look at that will help you to accomplish what you need to do for the assignment, as well as a few lectures and videos to help you complete the rhetorical analysis assignment, which is a rough draft, if you need it. If you are feeling pretty strong in how you do introductions and how you write thesis statements and how to identify rhetorical choices, then you don't have to review that material. There's also a nice list of optional materials dealing with thesis statements, a funny piece called Shitty First Drafts, which I encourage you to read, an example analysis paper, how to write about logos, ethos, and pathos, and then a few things from the crash course study hall writing and composition series. So let's take a look at these assignments. The first one is the summary response worksheet. This one is due Wednesday, September 11th. And the goal of this assignment is just to make sure that you are on the right path for your rough draft. So it's kind of a pre-drafting exercise, not only checking to make sure that you have a text that's worthy of analysis, but also that you can get your ideas down. And so I can provide you a little bit of guidance and feedback should that be necessary for your rough draft. So of course, you're going to read the text in action assignment handout. This tells you the various types of things you could be analyzing. So we use text in a very broad term. It does not necessarily have to be words on a paper. It could be a video, an ad, a TED Talk, a speech, an article. It doesn't have to be just words on paper, right? Or words on the screen. It could be something that's spoken words. So what you need to do is choose what type of text that you are going to use, draft a complete but concise summary of the text. And that's what this week's readings are relating to. So if you aren't quite sure how to summarize, you can go to the readings and figure out how you can write a summary, draft a complete but concise summary of the text. For this essay, the summary should be somewhere between 5 and 8 sentences, so a short paragraph. For the response planning, this is a bit of brainstorming, right? So these are answers that you can come up with who the author is. If there isn't an author, then provide the title of the website or the video or the ad instead, what the purpose is. What is that author or creator trying to accomplish? Why did they feel the need to write the text or use chosen images, so on and so forth? Who the audience is, or what the relationship is to the reader. To whom is that text addressed? Who is the target audience? Who are they trying to reach? The context. What are the influencing factors surrounding the event of the text? If it's a speech, what is the motivation for that speech, right? If you're choosing a political speech, it is an election year for a presidential election year. If you're choosing a speech, what is the context that influences that, right? And I think I brought up the example in somebody's comment somewhere about how recently at the Democratic National Convention, how the speaker, Michelle Obama, knew her audience. So she really geared her message towards a target audience, right? And of course, you can speak about the context, so on and so forth. Where and when was the text written or created, right? If it's something that's from 10 years ago, or if it's something really recent, of course, that's relevant information that your audience, when you're writing your paper, will need to know. Voice, what's the overall tone of the text? Does it change? Why? You want to think about what the genre is. What type of writing is it, or what type of message is it? Is it a video? Is it a text? Is it an article? Is it a speech? You get the drill, right? Strategies. How did the author write the text? What strategies did they make? What rhetorical choices do they make? And effectiveness. Is the author rhetorically effective? So these are all questions that you can think about. You don't have to answer each and every one of them, but at least get the ball rolling and hopefully find out whether or not you're on the right track. Again, that is due Wednesday, September 11th. And then on Sunday, what you have due is the text in action or rhetorical analysis essay rough draft. So there is that handout, the text in action handout, which has a whole list of options that you can choose from. What you need to do is figure out how language is used to influence beliefs, attitudes, and behaviors. This assignment is asking you how and why a text is put together. So not so much the what of that message, right? Not the what of that text, but how and why. Does that make sense? To analyze how it's put together and why, right? What effects its rhetorical components might have on a particular audience. So you're going to look at things like audience, you're going to look at things like genre, you're going to look at the rhetorical choices, how the creator uses the various rhetorical appeals, logos, pathos, ethos, and if you're comfortable talking about kairos, which is timeliness, you can bring that in as well. By understanding and applying rhetoric, you'll be able to engage with texts of all sorts, both within and beyond college. So this is really a good exercise in critical thinking. We are aiming for 4 to 5 double-spaced pages. That works out to be about 1,000 to 1,200 words. It should be MLA format. If you do not know what MLA format is, there are some links here as far as the guidelines, as well as a sample paper, what it looks like, right? So that's things like 12-point font, 1-inch margins all around, yada, yada, yada. Again, you can go to these links to read more about it. And that rough draft, you should aim for at least the minimum. You have to give me something for which I can provide feedback. This will also be part of a peer review, so you need to have more than half of the text handled in your rough draft so we can guide you and provide commentary. Here is the rubric for it. So I'm looking at things like your introduction, your thesis, your conclusion. Of course, you have to do a rhetorical analysis. So I'm looking to see if you understand what the rhetorical situation is, what rhetorical appeals are. Of course, I'm also looking at organization, making sure that each paragraph examines one idea and it contains appropriate reasoning, audience awareness, and of course, the nitty-gritty language use and mechanics. So things like grammar, punctuation, spelling, formatting, MLA, yada, 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 right? So those are the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 criteria that I will be basing my feedback on. And again, you do need to submit the draft. It's not an optional thing. You do get graded on it. It is worth 10 points. And that will be due Sunday, September 15th. So let's head back to Module 3, the Week 3 overview. Again, just try to get these things done as soon as you possibly can. If you do need an extension for some reason, please reach out to me. Because there is a peer review that is connected with this, it's important that you get your rough draft in as close to the due date as possible. We don't want to leave it hanging there because then the peer review stuff doesn't work out as well as it should. If you have any questions in the meantime, you know how to get in touch with me. Take care and have a fantastic week, everybody. Bye-bye.